Hey YouTubers, morning. Beautiful Sunday morning here in sunny Florida. It's kind of cool out, so I got my windbreaker. Don't need a sweater, it's not that cool. But today we're talking about my Audi Q5. I'm not doing any repairs today. It doesn't always need repairs. It's actually been fairly reliable. But no, what we're going to be talking about today are tires. You see, the tires that I have on here, I got them used. I got the tires and the wheels together. The tires were slightly used. They weren't bad. They were still at about 60% thread, but they've gotten down to the wear marks. So I'm going to show you guys really quick what a wear mark is on a tire, what to look for, and it's usually the point at which your tires become kind of dangerous because they're not that I guess they're not that good on wet roads, you know, especially at highway speeds. And it's generally a good indicator that it's time to change your tires. But also, we're going to be doing something different because since these tires are worn down and I'm going to have to be buying tires, I'm going to show you guys what my options are, the tires that I'm looking at, and why I'm looking at that specific tire. And you guys can chime in. You can let me know if you know anything about the tires that I'm thinking about getting, you know, if there's any excessive road noise problems, any excessive wear problems, performance issues if they don't handle very well on dry pavement or on gravel, things like that. So anyway, as usual, if you like the videos that I make, click like. If you want to see more of the same when I produce them, hit subscribe. By the way, I just hit my 900 subscriber mark, so I only got to hit like 100 more to get monetized. It took me 10 years to get to this point. I've literally been making YouTube videos on this one channel for 10 years now to get to 900 subscribers. So go ahead and hit subscribe so that maybe in the next year I'll hit that 1,000 mark and I'll start getting a couple dollars to help pay for my habit. First of all, let me show you guys real quick what I started out with and what I have now. These are the tires that came with the car and the wheels. They are 19-inch wheels, and the tires that are on here are 235, 55, 19. On the car, I have 18-inch wheels, and these are 235, 60, 18s. So the overall width, the 235, is the same on both tires, but because this is a taller wheel, it is an inch taller in diameter, then the sidewall of the tire has to be a little bit smaller. So this is a 55 series tire, this is a 60 series tire. Now, I would really have liked to get up to a 65 series tire, but there's one major problem, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. So first of all, I'm going to talk about wear indicators. Now, these tires, when I got this car, this is pretty much how the tires came. I think I drove the car on these tires for a month before I got those 18s. And every tire sold in the US that is made for roadway use has wear indicators. And what it is, there's a rubber strip that goes across the thread, and when the thread gets down to the height of that rubber strip, that's the wear indicator that tells you it's time to change your tires. So you've seen people use a depth gauge. It's a little round thing that goes inside the thread, and then it tells you the difference between the depth of the thread and then the top part here. That's great. You know, it'll tell you how much thread you have, how much you use, stuff like that. But a really simple rule of thumb, I'm gonna get in here. So you see, these are the threads, and then you see this rubber that's going here, 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 and here. This is a rubber bar that goes straight across. It's level, and what happens is when the thread is worn down to where that rubber bar is the same height as this, that is the depth indicator, and that is the point at which most places you go to get tires repaired, if the thread is down to that depth, they'll tell you the tire can't be repaired because it's past that thread depth. It's time to replace the tire. So it's on here. And I'm gonna come around here and show you on this, so you can see it better on this, because this has a much wider, more aggressive thread block. So you can see here, this is your thread wear indicator. This is your thread wear indicator, and it goes straight across the tire, and there are multiple. So it's not just in one spot, you know, it's usually in about 5-6 spots around the tire. So there's one here, and then there's another one up here, and there's more down there. So it's not just in one spot on the tire. You don't have to spin the tire around to look for it. You just, once you see that wear indicator, and see mine, it's pretty much there. Okay, this is my thread, this is my wear indicator, it's there. It's time to change these threads out. Also, you can notice this is a very aggressive thread block. I like this. This is not an off-road tire per se. It's kind of a dirt and gravel tire. Great for the beach, great for gravel, exceptional for wet weather, but it's not a rock crawling tire. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get tires that are similar to this, because I really like the characteristics of these, especially since I drive this off-road a little bit. You know, I go on the beach and stuff like that. And I wanted to get a taller tire, but here's the problem. The way the suspension on this car is designed, you see this? So this is the steering knuckle. It goes from the bottom to the top, and it has A-arms up here. It has complex A-arms, which are really good for turning radius, especially on an all-wheel drive vehicle, and there are other benefits, handling, stuff like that. But the problem is that knuckle comes up to the height of the tire, so there's enough room for me to fit, well, I can't even fit my thumb between the tire and that knuckle, so I can't put a taller tire here. The only way for me to fit a taller tire in this space would be to get wheel spacers that'll put the tire way out past the knuckle, and then I would have clearance. So I would have, you see where that knuckle is sitting over the tire, I'd have to move the tire with a wheel spacer all the way out here so that I could go up. I don't think I want to do that. It'll look stupid, it'll look goofy, and it affects handling. When you put your tires offset out, then it definitely affects handling. If you've ever put spacers on a car, you know exactly what I'm talking about with that. So that is my situation. I can't put much taller tires. With that said, I am gonna put bigger tires. So these are, like I said, 235/60 18s. I plan on buying 245/60 18s, so it's going to be wider, not by much, just by 1 centimeter, which is a little less than a half an inch, bit less than it's about 1/3 of an inch. Okay, so it's a little bit wider. You know, just looking at it, you wouldn't even notice the difference, but it also makes it a little bit taller, because the sidewall aspect ratio is a product of the width. So if you have a 225/60 series tire and you have a 245/60 series tire, well, the 60 series is a percentage, so it's always 60% of the width, whereas if it was a 235/55 series, that sidewall would be 55% of the width. So as the tire gets wider, it also gets taller, so long as you keep the aspect ratio the same. Now we're gonna get into tires. Now I'm definitely gonna get a thread block like this, similar to this, not this exact one. These are great, but I think I could probably get something a little more suited to what I like. The last thing that I bought on a car like this was on my Touareg. I got Cooper Discovers. I'm not gonna get the Cooper Discovers. Nothing wrong with them. They were really good tires, but I like the look of the Falcon Wild Peak AT Trail. So that is one of my options, and the reason why I like those tires, they have those kind of little ridges on the side of them. So I don't know that I would ever use those ridges. It is purely an aesthetic thing. I like how it looks. I like how it looks on the vehicle. Also, it's going to blend in well with what I have planned for this, because over the course of this summer, I plan on putting a lift kit on here, 2-inch lift. I've looked on the internet. I've seen multiple lift kits. I've seen lift kits where there's just a puck that goes between the top of the spring and the body of the car and moves the spring down. I've seen lift kits where it's an entire spring that's just taller. I'd imagine that one gives you better results since it's about 3 times the price. You know, if you know of a lift kit that you've seen someone put on a Q5 or that you've put on your Q5, let me know in the comments section. So that's one of the modifications. Of course, the tires, I like the kind of off-roady tires since I like driving on dirt and sand. I'm not gonna go rock crawling with this. That's never what this gonna be. But I like being able to handle my own on some gravel. I also plan on putting a tow hitch in the back, which I've already purchased. I'm gonna make a video on installing that. That's gonna be an adventure in itself. And then in the front, I plan on putting fog lights of some sort. I haven't figured out how I'm gonna do that, if I'm gonna put a light bar, if I'm gonna put individual fog lights or whatever. And I'm also going to put a winch on here so that if I do go out in the woods and do something stupid, if there are trees around, I can probably get myself out of it. So, you know, I'm not gonna turn this into a full-on rock crawling rig, but I am gonna get it to be kind of overlandy. Also, while we're on the topic of that, I've looked on YouTube. Of course, that's where I do most of my research, and I've only found one other YouTuber with an Audi Q5 that does any kind of modifications like this to his Q5. So if you are watching this thinking, you know, YouTube Q5 off-road, and I'm just one of a few channels that you know that's doing modifications like this, send me a link to the other ones so that I can find the other Q5 off-roaders, and you know, I can get ideas. I'm not above cheating and looking at somebody else's coursework. I don't have a problem with that. So, you know, send me the links, send me the addresses, let me know about the other Q5s that are going off-road, because you know, it's fun and it's something different. You know, I don't need a Jeep. I'm not that serious about it. I just think that, you know, this suits in well with my lifestyle, and it would be kind of cool to make it a little bit off-roady, you know. So that's where we are. Now let's get right into the tires. I'm going to show you guys the 3 tires that I'm looking at, that I'm probably going to end up getting next weekend and installing, and then you guys can let me know which ones you think would be the best suited for my application. Like I said, not rock crawling, just driving on gravel, driving on dirt, driving on beach sand. And if we're being completely honest, about 95% of my driving is going to be on paved roads, on city streets. So it doesn't have to be a dedicated off-road tire. I would be remiss if I thought that for some reason I needed a dedicated off-road tire. I don't. All right, so let's get into the other part of this. Okay, so the first contender in my options is the BF Goodrich Trail Terrain TA. I really like the design of this tire. I like the thread block. It's aggressive, but not too aggressive. It's got those little sidewall indents that I really like. Gives it that kind of off-road vibe to it. A little bit on the pricey side, but it's actually not that bad when you consider the difference in price between the most expensive option that I'm looking at and the least expensive option. I don't know if this is one of those deals where you'd buy 3 and get the 4th one free, or if you got to pay for all of them. But 60,000 mile warranty, great reviews. It's rated best. The second option is the Falcon Wild Peak AT Trail. I've seen these tires on multiple vehicles. I see them on Subaru Crosstreks all the time. Seems to be a pretty popular tire. If OM manufacturers are putting it on a car, it's got to have a certain level of reliability to it. The warranty on it is kind of fuzzy. It's 50,000 miles to 65,000 miles. I don't know what the rules are as far as getting one or the other, but you know, it's an option. It's something to look at. Like these tires, I've had Falcon tires on my cars before, not these kind of tires, but street tires, and I really like the product. They seem to work very good. And then last up to bat is the Nito Nomad Grappler. I don't know too much about these tires. I don't know that I've even seen them on any vehicles before. But they do offer the 60,000 mile warranty, so that's right within the ballpark, and it comes in cheapest. So the most expensive one is 233, and then the cheapest one is 211. So we're talking, you know, 22 bucks difference from the most expensive to the least expensive. So it all comes down at this point to which one is preferred. It's not a matter of price. The price is negligible in the difference from one to the other. So I guess it's a matter of which one I like and also which one you guys like. So let me know in the comments section.